17.
Morning, Starshine.
Are you like less weary now? Did you get some sleep?
I did, but I woke up at 4 a.m. So I'm like ready for a nap already.
That's all right. You could.
I could actually. Today's kind of a light day. So, well, I say that, but I have stuff to do. So, but I could fit a nap in.
Yeah, we all have stuff to do, but I think I'm going to have a nap. I stayed up too late because, the kids are home.
Yeah, you have your daughter back in the house.
Yes. And it was so fun to just like hear them laughing together in the other room. Yeah, I love that,
That's right.
So the drive was a little dicey. I mean, it was interesting. We were headed over through the canyon.
Uh-huh.
And you could just see this black, well, not black, that's exaggerating, very dark, moody clouds. And you could see it was snowing.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you could see we were going to drive into a squall. And, it's like 28 degrees. So it's snowing. And sure enough, we just drive right into it. It's not sticking because it's too windy and cold.
So it's just blowing.
Yeah. But, it was like buffeting the car and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, it was fine. But, you just slow down and take it easy. And,
right.
And at one point it was starting to stick because the pavement, even though the air temperature is cold, the pavement was still fairly warm from the afternoon because it's late afternoon,
Yeah.
Anyway, it took us a little longer, but that's okay. We get over there and like help her shove everything in duffels, and because winter break is pretty long. I mean, it's a full 4 weeks. And so, we just wanted to bring home like all of the bedding and all of the things to wash and like, unplug the fridge and
yeah.
And then we decided, well, when I go through the canyon, I mean, there were some icy spots and I'm like, well, I don't really want to go back that way because I don't remember where all the icy corners were.
Right.
And then I don't usually drive that way at night because there's a lot of elk and stuff. Like in the canyon, there's elk, deer, and there's bighorn sheep. Anyway, I don't want to hit any of that wildlife that's prevalent in that canyon. So we decided to come back the other direction, which was more windy, but less icy. And then we're coming back from north of Cheyenne. And I mean, it had just been cranking windy all day, like gusts over 60. There's a semi or two taking a nap on the side of the road. They just, because they don't listen. They don't listen to the warnings. When they say no light trailers, like you probably shouldn't be going northbound with a load of toilet paper or whatever it is you have that doesn't weigh very much. And then there was a couple of overturned, well, at least one overturned, like, those cargo trailers that contractors have. Yeah. Like, they're like 12 or 16 foot cargo trailers.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Like one of those was like overturned. I mean, the truck that was towing it was not there anymore, but it was just, it's windy.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was really nice. It's always nice as a mom. I mean, I just like it when everybody's home and under the same roof. And
that's great.
I sleep. They're still sleeping. It's only 8:00 here, and they're teenagers. So
I understand.
Fine. And there was some celebration,
and I just barely heard before we started one of my kids in the kitchen. So
yeah, and it's okay. I mean, they work really hard. There was celebration last night when we were checking grades for finals, and they're rocking it, and I'm so proud. Of course,
awesome.
Yeah. So it's good.
Yeah.
Do you want to toss? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Plans? Do you have any exciting plans now that they're home? Now that your oldest?
Well, the baking will commence now because I have help. And honestly, last year they did the brunt of it. I mean, the gingerbread man and the things that we want to put in care packages,
right?
Along with like the mini ornaments. I mentioned that before. So we'll be doing a bunch of baking and putting like the little mini ornaments in there, and that's fun. If I can, I don't know. I have a lot of knitting, so we'll see how many little mini ornaments I can, or I don't know. My problem is, can I remember who I gave what mini ornament last year? So I don't, I mean, does it matter if you get the same one 2 years in a row? It won't be the same.
Just tell them they're getting a set slowly over time.
They won't know the difference. It won't be the same yarn, because the mini sweaters, you use scrap sock yarn.
You scrap. So yeah.
So speaking of fingering weight, let's have the chicken report.
I just finished. I was telling Jana, like I
Oh.
finished and then I turned on all the lights and turned on the camera and we started. Like I literally just finished. So I have here, I haven't even counted how many ridges I got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I got 11 ridges. When I have a longer one, I can get 12. So this time I got 11 and I do have like enough for a row and a half left over.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have anything like this color to help me finish a row.
And until you see what the next color.
Yeah, and I don't know what the next one's going to be.
But you'll know shortly.
Yeah, but I have to bind off on the next to the last row. So
right.
So if it is something that can work well with this, then I would think I can add it on with the next one, maybe.
Okay, so.
But I will say, I'm pretty sure this is the butterfly at the end of the Very Hungry Caterpillar. Like as I'm working with it, I'm like, I think this is all like the butterfly wing colors. So, and that would make sense.
Were we right about the Hungry Caterpillar?
This one is the Very Hungry Caterpillar. Yes. I got one. I have one right. I'm pretty sure then we're going to find out today this is the leaf. And then I think this is the butterfly at the end of the book. So that's my theory. That's what I'm working on.
Sticking to it.
Sticking to it. I'm hoping I'm going to have three, not 4, 3 out of
20 whatever.
Anyway, I have day 17 here. Ooh, much more. Ooh, this is definitely oceany.
Oh, well. Cool. Yeah, it is. That's nice. Beachy for sure.
Yeah. You have this like sandy tanny, all the oceany watercolors.
That's beautiful.
And I'm trying to think like what oceany kind of books there are. Like there's one about a hermit crab. I don't think she's done yet, where the hermit crab like goes around and adds things to its shell. So maybe it's that one, maybe a background from that one. I don't know. We'll find out. I don't have a theory on that one. I don't it doesn't stand out to me
yet, but you haven't had time to sit with it and ponder either.
Yeah. Cause this one struck me as butterfly, but then as I was working on it, I remembered the actual butterfly at the end of the book with the colorful leaves and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. So yeah, we'll see what comes to mind as I knit it up today.
Cool. All right. Day 17, The Girl in Her Wool. I love this dark plum.
Ooh.
We still have a little of that, a little bit, but I am loving the slow fade.
Yeah.
I mean, if for viewers, it might look similar each day, but if you look at my Instagram stories, there's a gentle shift, and I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is 15, 16, and today.
Nice.
Yes. So I don't know. Maybe we're getting a little lighter again.
I think that is going to make a really nice sweater, though, like all together, because the fade is so subtle.
I was telling Lindsay, one of my podcast partners, she and I were messaging, and she's like, "Well, what are you going to do?" I'm like, "It's going to have to be a sweater. I just don't know which pattern yet." So I really like the Comfort Fade Cardi. Took me a second to remember the name. However, I'm not so much a fan of the shawl collar necessarily, but there's Tracy from Grocery Girls has done a modification where she knit that sweater without just with a regular kind of a cardigan collar. So, a regular neck band, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I might try to do that because I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you have
your own knitting.
Yes. And if people have suggestions for sweaters, I prefer cardigans. I will wear a pullover, but for this, I would love to have a cardigan because I think I would wear it more, with different stuff under it. Yeah. Right. So drop a comment if you have a pattern suggestion. I'd love it. Yeah.
Okay.
British Explorers.
British Explorers. Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay. Ooh. It's like, I don't know, like the first word that came to my mind is husky. I don't know why, but can you see all that fuzz? Yeah. It's like super fuzzy. Okay, let's see what this is. Herdwick.
Huh.
Herdwick 4-ply, and it has like a little Russian nesting doll. Or maybe that's the baby Jesus. I'm not sure.
It's a nesting doll, I think.
I think it's a nesting doll.
And let's remind viewers, 4-ply means 2-ply.
Yeah, well, no, 4-ply means fingering weight.
Which is 2-ply.
Yeah, so this is a 2-ply yarn, but it is fingering weight.
Right.
4-ply. Okay, Herdwick 4-ply sourced from Crookabeck Farm in Cumbria. Herdwick sheep come from the Lakeland Fells, a rough landscape they have evolved to endure. The fiber itself is wiry and hairy. Yeah, okay. That's definitely, yeah. It's not prickly though.
Okay.
It's another one where like you can tell it's wool, but it's not like, get it off me, anything like that. Okay, sorry. I haven't tested this in the rain yet, but this hardy hill breed's wool is strong, tough, and can be almost waterproof when woven.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. James Rebanks has a Herdwick flock, and his books are worth a read if you are interested in the breed and shepherding in the Lake District. I think it would make lovely hanging birds' nests and furnishings. It is harsh next to the skin, but it's very hard wearing. I really don't like maybe when it's knitted, but it really isn't uncomfortable at this point. Okay. The lambs have black wool, but the sheep turn gray with age, just like us. They are mainly used for meat, but Herdwick tweed is being used more and more.
You know, what struck me when you're reading that, socks. It'd be great for socks.
Yeah, it would wear.
Yeah, it would wear really well, especially if you knitted it dense enough, if your gauge was tight enough and it made a harder, more dense fabric, which I tend to knit my socks pretty tightly anyway. But wool is fantastic. And especially if it's sturdy, people always talk about, let me just divert for a second. People always talk about, oh, you got to have nylon in your sock yarn. Well, what did people knit socks out of before nylon was invented? I mean, nylon is a pretty recent thing in the course of human history and using wool, right? Or sheep fleece. So I'm sure that the Vikings did not have nylon. So, it's a convenience, but if you're making an effort to be a little more environmentally friendly, let's say, or you just want to eliminate plasticky nylon kind of stuff from your life, be careful what kind of sheep breed or wool that you choose. And that would be a good example of something that's hard wearing. And if you knit your socks dense enough and learn to darn them,
right,
do the reinforced heel and carry on.
Yeah. And I've also heard mohair, like wool yarn with mohair content does really, really well for socks.
So when we do the felted clog tutorial, absolutely. There's mohair in the yarn that I use from Brown Sheep Company.
Right.
Look at you.
Look, so I got organized because like this area of my desk over here was just a heap of these little tiny things because I haven't been able to start knitting with them yet. So I went and got a vase and have them all.
It's so festive.
Twirled around. And
are they in order or did you like do them?
Yeah, well, the first one's at the bottom. And then
it looks very even and festive.
Yeah, I worked my way up with the order. So these are a bit more packed as it gets, more of them.
Yeah.
And then there's a pattern. She's been releasing a pattern like a clue a week, but I haven't had time to start with it yet. So
you're doing your yarn chicken parallel.
But in the meantime, it's looking pretty in base.
Beautiful. It's not the yarn chicken parallelogram. It's not really what it's called. If you're just tuning in and you haven't, it's really, unicorn, not yarn. We call it the yarn chicken parallelogram because we have the chicken report every day, whether Anne's going to make it through her rows. All right. Well, that was cool. Okay. Yeah. So today we are starting a new national park.
Which one is it?
It is Rocky Mountain National Park, which is not that far from where I live.
Nice.
Although I don't tend to go there because it's crowded. I mean, because it's just west of Denver. So
yeah,
Estes Park, all of that is, Rocky Mountain National Park. It's very crowded. So I can't, no. However, this is day 17, and this is from Stephanie at Verse Yarn. She's also our interview for today. So.
Which I'm looking forward to seeing because I didn't get to be in on that interview. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Tune in myself later.
Why can't I figure out how to open this? This is awkward.
What is your first test?
Well, It's like a paper. Oh, it's a paper bag where she folded the bottom up. Here's the sticker. And then the top of the bag is folded underneath the flappy thing. I have to do some engineering to get into this one. Ooh. Wow. Will you look at that?
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
There's lots of play on the Purple Mountain's majesty going on.
Yes.
in these trios.
So this was her collaboration, and this is 100% Highland Peruvian wool, a Corriedale and Merino breed. Highland Peruvian is, I guess, a cross. I was not aware of that. You know. So this is her Ascent fingering, 20 grams, 91 yards. That's lovely.
That's beautiful.
And, it does feel different than Merino, but
it's still a soft wool. It's still a very soft wool. Yeah. I know. I like the Highland.
I'm not super sensitive, really, anyway. I don't like Icelandic next to my skin necessarily. They're a pretty hardy, outerwear kind of wool.
Right.
But yeah, that is lovely. Look at the depth of, I just love that plum that we've been having.
Like that variation.
Ooh, yes. Well done, Stephanie. Okay. Beautiful. So we have my interview with her. You had to be away that day. I forget what you were doing, but nevertheless, we persevered. Sorry. We missed you, but we persevered.
Well, now I get something to watch myself. I get my own surprise. So
while you're knitting,
while you're 3, I wasn't able to sit in on. So
it's all right. And now you can knit your shawl while you watch.
That's right. Get my rows in. I'm really looking forward to working with this one. Let's everybody look at it again. It's so pretty.
Okay, I'll show what I'm going to work on today. Since everybody knows we're doing the Maya cardigan, and since the oldest is home now, I can try hers on her.
Yay!
I have the body, and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be cropped. Like, I knitted this way too much. I'm going to have to rip out a bunch of this because I was like, just, watching shows and knit. And then finally I texted her and I said, how long was that supposed to be? Did you measure yourself? And she's like, yeah, she tells me, and I'm like, oh. So I'll probably have to rip out a good couple inches because, I was just watching a movie or something.
Yeah, you just get in the zone. I'm still on my second sleeve, but we have knitting time. I call it. We're going to be watching some Christmas movies again tonight. So I'm hoping to at least get through the color work, get through my rows, and get through the last bit of color work here.
Tell me about your Christmas movies.
Oh, so we have like a schedule. I forget what we're watching today. My oldest really embraced the idea of family Christmas movies. So we didn't do them while we were gone. And then I told her not to plan anything for last night too, because I didn't know how we would be feeling. But yeah, so we've done Elf. We've done, I can't even remember what we watched. Miracle on 34th Street, the old one.
The classics, yes.
Yeah, some of the classics. And then tonight, I want to say we're doing Home Alone tonight.
Okay.
Speaking of the classics. And we have she has some TV shows she's a big fan of. So they their Christmas specials are sort of peppered through. And yeah, so from now until Christmas, we have a Christmas movie a night to watch.
So when my oldest was at school for her last class in one of her honors colloquium, her professor, I don't know why she picked this, but she had the kids, I think they got snacks and stuff, and they watched Muppets Christmas Carol,
which is the best of all the Christmas movies.
And I guess Dr. K asked my daughter, what Christmas movies did you grow up with? And, people are of her age are Polar Express and whatever. And she watched that too, but she's like, oh, the classics like Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red, the old Rankin and Bass.
Right. Yeah. We have those all scheduled. Ones. Yep.
That we used to have them on VHS, but then we actually found them on DVD. Yeah. The classic older animated ones. Yeah. So, and her professor was like, oh, the classics. And she's like, well, yeah. I'm embarrassed to say she'd never seen the Muppets Christmas Carol because we don't have it.
Oh.
And it just occurred to me that we should stream that while she's home. I mean, I guess you can find it someplace.
Have you seen it? You've seen it though, right?
maybe years ago. I don't like really remember.
My mom got me the DVD like the year the DVD came out, and I was still in high school. And I remember seeing someone watch it before mom got it for me.
Yeah.
And I just saw a part, and I was like, oh, kid stuff, you know? And then I opened it up Christmas Day and was like, I guess I'm watching this, and laughed my head off. And I watched it every day until school started again.
Who's your favorite Muppet?
My favorite Muppet. That's a good question. I probably Rizzo the rat because of that. But he's also like, anytime he shows up, he's hilarious. But like as kids, it would be Miss Piggy, like growing up with the Muppets. Oh yeah, Miss Piggy.
Oh yeah. Okay. Huh. Yeah. Well, I mean, she's fine, but she wasn't my favorite.
Wasn't your favorite? Who's your favorite?
Oh,
who's your favorite growing up and now? Are they the same?
Yeah, pretty much the same.
Okay.
Grover.
Grover's good. Gonzo also.
Animal.
He was Sesame Street though, I think. Gonzo was Sesame Street.
Animal. The drummer.
Oh
Animal.
yeah. Yeah. Animal kind of disturbed me. And also Jana from the band. Like all of the band members kind of freaked me out a little as a kid.
Okay. Hey, I was a drummer in marching band.
Okay.
So I loved Animal because of that, obviously. But Grover, because he's like, ah!
Yeah.
And then, Super Grover, all that whole thing.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Grover was Sesame Street and Gonzo was Muppets.
Wait.
Yeah. They're all Muppets.
Oh, yeah. I guess you're right. Okay.
I definitely love Grover. Grover was.
You're right. I don't think he's a Muppet. I mean, they're all Muppets, but I see what you mean. He was not on the Muppet Show. He was on Sesame Street.
Yeah, I think I was more of a Sesame Street kid.
Right.
Than Muppet Show. Though we love them.
Is it Sesame Street or Muppets? The one with what are the little red things with the big mouths and they?
Oh, the meat.
Yeah. What are those?
Yeah. Those, I love those.
Are those Muppets or Sesame Street?
Those are Sesame Street.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the Swedish Chef too, of course.
That's Muppets. There you go. You got to a Muppet.
Well, you know what? I grew up in the 70s. I was in elementary school in the 70s. I was little in the 70s. And so that was before the Muppets. That was Sesame Street. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so drop a comment down below and tell us what your favorite Muppet is. Yeah.
Bonus, what's your favorite Sesame Street character?
We never lack for things to talk about, do we? You never know whether we're going to talk about Muppets or menopause.
Miss Piggy's in menopause by now.
Oh, I'm sure.
She's been here long enough. We could have the discussion with her too.
We could. But she seems like one of those characters that probably wouldn't talk about it.
No, she'd be shocked. She'd and walk away. Her nose would
Oh, crack me up. Okay.
On that note,
we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. Stephanie, hey, thanks for meeting me and taking some time out of your day to join us for a podcast recording.
Thank you for having me, Jana.
Yeah, you're welcome. Love that. So we'll just get right into it. First of all, I want to know what you're wearing. Because that's
okay. So this is actually not something that I made. This is definitely store-bought.
Okay.
It's just a Free People type of cardigan, but it has a Fair Isle pattern on it.
Yeah.
So, and it's really long length. So it goes beyond the knee.
Wow.
And it's very warm and cozy. So if someone else is willing to knit that, I'm willing to purchase it.
You're like, I don't want to knit that. So how'd you become a hand dyer?
So it started as a process of just trying to find a project, first of all, that was portable, which doesn't really translate into hand-dyed yarn, right? So the kids were, busy, and it was time to go to recreational activities, ballet, martial arts, swimming, all those activities.
All the stuff.
So a lot of stuff. So I had to have something to do, right? So I used to sew, and again, that's not portable, and that had its own experience with them playing with the sewing machine, and it didn't work out. So I decided to learn either crochet or knitting, and I gave myself 3 months to learn to crochet, and then followed by 3 months to learn to knit. And at the end, I would pick which one I liked.
Reasonable.
Yeah. So with crochet, I started off with making a different projects. Like I tried amigurumi, a blanket, and then little accessories like scarves, mittens,
Okay.
etc. Yeah. And then I switched over to knitting. And then I never really stopped knitting. I just continued on.
So you
because
had your answer.
so I had my answer. And what happened was, as I make things, I like to give them away. And I decided, well, something that would make this more special to someone is maybe if I dyed it or did some hand painting, and then it was a one of a kind. So when I looked into doing it, I fell in love. The chemistry that matched well with my background, the artistic expression that you can put into hand dyed yarn. It was just, that was it. That was my new hobby. I was going to take off with that. So
Well, now it's become not just a hobby anymore. I mean,
right. It became a business. It was just too
Yeah.
much that was accumulating.
that's
time to
well, and
get
a
a
lot of
business.
people we've interviewed had said, you start off kind of doing it for yourself, and then you do it more and more, and then you have all this yarn, and then you start giving it away, and then you're like, well, I might as well sell it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So you mentioned that the dyeing kind of fits with your background. Do you have a science chemistry kind of background?
I do. I was initially, well, I went to school to become a pharmacist and became a pharmacist and then worked my way through medical school. So I'm actually a physician.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So you're Dr. Stephanie Knits.
Sure. I just go by Stephanie.
Doctor. Okay. Well, still, that's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. When do you have time? When do you have time to dye then? If you're like, wow.
Yeah, it's time management. It's my free time, right? The hobby that I would have done. So
Right.
yeah, it works out. When you love it and you're passionate about it, there's time for it.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
that's true. I mean, I make time. I just don't sleep as much.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me about the name of your company then, Verse Yarns.
So Verse, if you kind of look at the logo, you'll notice that I can hold up one of the yarns actually. If you look at the logo, you'll have one flower that's not really colored in on both sides, and then you have one that's colored in the middle.
Right.
So that kind of represents your present, right?
Mhm.
Especially in those times where you don't really know what your past is necessarily going to be and the future is unclear. So it's like a lot of us knit through times, right?
Mhm.
So this reminds you to just stay in the present.
That's really good. And,
And
because a lot of us do
right.
knit when I knit all the time, but I find it comforting when I'm not feeling well, or I'm not,
Right.
or I'm upset about something. Then I maybe won't knit something complicated,
Right.
A little stockinette stitch does wonders for you.
It does. It does. And then just the verse is kind of your personal mantra that gets you through things, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that. That's wonderful. So what do you feel like makes well, aside from that, because that's
Mhm.
really cool, but what do you feel like makes your shop and your products unique?
Probably, I think my focus on the different, what I call fiber families.
Okay.
So I have bases that are divided based upon their main content. So merino, Highland wool,
Mhm.
alpaca, and blueface Leicester. And
Mhm.
I divided it up that way because when I dye different colorways, they'll look differently across the different bases. And then
Interesting.
there's always one that stands out the most. So that becomes part of the palette for that fiber family. And so I allow the fiber family to really just express the colorways in the best way that they take the yarn. I mean, they take the dye.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because people think wool is wool, but it's
It's
not.
not. It's not.
No, just like people are all different. Sheep are
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
And their fiber is like that. And then, obviously mohair, alpaca, and all those things. Yeah, definitely. So tell me I was intrigued. I read a little bit about your, ethically sourced yarn, and then also how you try to use all of the dye. So tell me a little about that, and also about the graffiti series.
Okay. So the graffiti, I actually have one that I can show you that is
Yay.
going to go into 2022's release. So what I do with graffiti is it's two bulky skeins that I keep together through the entire process. And they're really kind of like dye mops, basically. So anytime I need to clean off a spoon, or if I have rinse water, anything that would have gone down the drain actually goes on that yarn.
Oh.
And as I'm yeah. And
so
as
you're
I'm
like mopping stuff up with it.
Well, I keep it in like a little pan.
Yeah.
And then everything just kind of goes in that pan. And then kind of like if I'm test dyeing a colorway and it doesn't fully exhaust, well, in goes the graffiti because I'm not letting that dye go down the sink. And then I need to go back and adjust the formula on the prior, colorway.
Right.
But yeah, so I collect them and then I'll show you this one.
Ooh, oh, that's beautiful. Oh my word. Is that graffiti number 82 or like what is that?
So I think I have about 20 of them and the first collection of 20 is gone. So it's really cool because people from all over the world kind of participated. So it was nice to send off packages internationally and just know that some people bought enough to make a blanket and others for a sweater. Some just bought like one or two, but
yeah. You can't replicate that though.
You cannot replicate it. That's it. So it'll never happen again. Yeah.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. Like if that particular skein that you're holding is on your website, would it be called graffiti number 82 or graffiti?
Yes, it would have. Yeah, each set has its own number, so it would be set number and then 20 or 21, whichever one it would be. Mm-hmm.
Wow, I really like that one.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's super cool.
Yeah, so it's pretty fun for me because I also involve a lot of color theory while I'm doing it. So I have several sets going at the same time.
Right.
And so I'll have like something that I categorize as neutral, one as warm, one as cool. And then that way you don't muddy the colors too much. They can still be expressive in their colorway. So there's time invested in making sure that this becomes more of an artistic piece than just a random mop. So.
Right. That makes sense because I had this visualization of like the two bulky skeins and you have one mop for this week and it is whatever it is. But you're saying you have mop sections and you're doing them intentionally. Like if you have this dye left over, you're going to choose which mop it goes on to.
Correct.
That makes more sense to me. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why they come out that way. So
yeah that's beautiful.
It's an investment, but thank you. I'll show you one more time.
That's super cool. I love like that. I don't know how it is in real life, but on my monitor that shows up kind of like a woodland.
That's the perfect word for it because that's exactly how I've described it. It's a woodland mixture of these colors.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it's really cool.
That's
the part.
That's just lovely. And that's on your bulky. And so how many yards would that be?
So that's going to be around 200. I think it's a 206 total. Maybe it's 212. It's more than 200 yards. Yeah.
Okay. Because it's two skeins together.
Two skeins together.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant idea.
Thank you. The hard part is deciding when to stop.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, it would be.
You're like, ooh, a little more, a little further. And then you're like, ooh, too far.
Yeah, it's probably good that I don't do that because I wouldn't be good at knowing when. Yeah. That's probably an intuitive thing that you sort of have to learn over time.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you hinted about this a little bit. What do you have coming up for the new year?
So I have quite a few collaborations in the first part of the year. And let's see what else I have. Yeah, I have a few. I can't really say what they are. Two of them I think are known, but I don't want to mess it up.
No, that's right. Yeah. But people can watch your website or your newsletter to find that out. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So do you have anything you can tell us about?
Let's see. Not that one. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so you've got a lot of collaborations that are mysterious coming up.
Yes, well, I have one. Well, I can't even say when it's coming. So it's on my Instagram feed. I'll just leave it at that because I know I followed the rules and being quiet enough about it.
Okay. So check out Stephanie's Instagram. We'll leave all the links for those things down below. But it sounds super fun.
It is fun, yeah. And I'm looking at growing as well. So.
Yeah. So where can people find you? On Instagram, obviously.
Right. And at verseyarns.com.
Okay. And do you do a newsletter there as well?
I do a newsletter there. So all of my perks, I don't really do a lot of sales, but if there is anything that I offer, it's usually on like a new introduction of a line or new colorways that haven't been purchased before, because I don't like to put things on sale that someone's already purchased. I don't like that feeling.
Right.
So yeah, but I do provide that to newsletters for subscribers, and they also get a lookbook. So it's not just, hey, come to this update. Like you get an actual lookbook to look through the colorways that will be there, so you can kind of plan what you want to do.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So people should go sign up for your newsletter.
Yeah. And it's not a very regular one, so it's
okay.
As needed to know. Yeah.
But if there's stuff that is coming, I mean, that's where you'll tell people first.
Correct. Like about the graffiti, they'll find out first.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just love that idea. Cool.
Thank you. Oh, I want to tell you about one more thing.
Oh, good.
I have 360 sock. I don't know if you've heard about it, but I saw all your sock tutorials, and I know you're a sock knitter.
Yep.
So I have this base. It's 360 sock. Okay. This is the colorway I used with Mina Phillips for her Around the World in 8 Socks collaboration.
Yeah.
And I dyed on a couple of other colorways. This one's Autumn Leaves. I don't know if you can really see the color.
That's lovely. Oh, now I can.
Yeah.
That's rich.
So yeah, it's a beautiful base. And as I am more conscientious about what superwash and non-superwash, this one's actually organic merino. And we talked a little bit about sourcing yarns. Right. And it's just this base is very special to me because it's actually sourced from Karita Collins at Neighborhood Fiber Company.
Okay.
Yeah. So she has an indie dyer service, and I love this base. So,
it's beautiful.
Yeah. It's an 8-ply. It's swishy. It's just one of my favorites.
So tell me the 360, what does that stand for?
Oh, so the 360, I named it that because it's an 8-ply. Okay. And it's 4 strands of 2 plies together. So it's a very round yarn. And then I kind of felt like it was a 360-degree relationship for the collaboration that we did. So it was very fitting.
I see. Mina. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's lovely. I love those earthy tones.
Yeah. I love how that has a little pop of color in it. So it looks like a rust beforehand. And then as you get closer, you see the other colors show up.
And if there's even maybe not in real life, but on my monitor, there's even a hint of some greens in there.
Yeah, there is green in here. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So this one is called Autumn Leaves. And so it's when, like if you look at the leaves now, they have that very faint little bit of green in them, but they're mostly brown or rust colored. And that's what this is really representing.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I would knit a whole sweater out of that.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? I love it.
It is. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
And I'm glad you were able to take time to be here today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me.